Good morning. Welcome to Community Unitarian Universalist Church here in Plano, Texas. Wonderful music this morning, very joyful. Thank you, Pam. My name is Reverend Dr. Aija Duelm. I am the minister of this congregation. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm so glad to see all of you here this morning, joining us in person or online. Thank you for making time this morning to be here, to be with us. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, and that means it's a place where we are coming together to learn what it means to be human. Not because we have figured it out and have all of the right answers, but because we are learning, we are discovering, we are practicing all of these things. We are coming here to learn more about how to be in relationship with one another, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, how to create trust and compassion in one another, as well as how to open ourselves and welcome care from others. And if you're like me, I know that is something to learn to do, to be able to receive from others and let others know that I need care and support. This church year, the worship team had decided to focus on our values throughout worship. Every month we pick one value that we lift up so that we gradually get accustomed to the new language that the UUA created in 2024. We already discussed two, and I'm not going to do a test. I'm going to tell you already which ones we covered. Interdependence and transformation. And this month we will reflect on love. This is what the Article 2 of our UUA bylaws says. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant, congregation to congregation, and through our association, to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. That is the text. So today we're holding this value of love, and we will reflect on Christmas holiday season. I'll invite you to think about the origin of Christmas, its meaning, and how Unitarians, who were once considered heretics, saved Christmas. Specifically here in the United States. They were the ones that championed many traditions that we have today, from the Christmas tree to Santa Claus, carols that we have this day, and they reframed the celebration to highlight themes of peace, love, and goodwill. Glad you're here wherever you are on your journey. Welcome here. This is our second Advent Sunday, and we are lighting our Advent wreath for all of the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. As Unitarian Universalists, it is valuable for us to reconsider and reinterpret the traditions of our ancestors. Our UU faith grows out from Christian roots, but even though some of us here identify as Christians, others do not. Among us, we have Jewish UUs, we have Buddhists, we have humanists, we have pagans, Here we go. And Unitarian Universalists, period, without any other hyphens as well. Some of us are like that here. But together we grow and we change and we share the insights that we've learned and struggles that we encountered in response to our spiritual practices. So last week, you lit the first candle for hope, and today we will relight the first candle of hope, and then we will add another candle for peace. As we do this, I invite you to join me in responsive reading. And it's on the screen. You will read the bold line there. We prepare for a new era of justice and reconciliation, free from violence and coercion. Peace is possible. We give thanks for those who witness for a world made whole, with all her people one. We light the candles for peace and hope. Our call to worship comes from words written by Hannah Roberts Villnave. Hope comes to claim us. In the season of long, cold nights, hope isn't waiting for us to find it. Hope isn't sitting patiently on the sidelines. Hope seeks out the forgotten places, the longest night, the damaged temple, the overcrowded stable, and every corner where tomorrow seems impossible. Hope bursts in, uninvited, without concern for our carefully crafted plans. Hope shows up as a lamp that keeps burning. Hope shows up as an improbable baby. Hope shows up as the sun returning without ever having left. Hope shows up as tomorrow and then tomorrow and then tomorrow, until against all odds, we feel the future breaking on the horizon. When we are weary from battle, when empire seems inevitable, when darkness is growing around us, hope comes to claim us, and we have a chance to say yes. Let us worship together. And we'll begin by lighting our chalice. It will be lit by Sandy Schneider.
We light this chalice here in the darkness of winter as we wait. This temporary space is one filled with prayers to be answered, love to be given and received, miracles to be witnessed. May this light guide us until the light of the sun returns again.
A covenant is the promise we make to one another. It's the way we will walk together as a community and as a congregation. Please join me in reminding ourselves of this promise.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another.
So let's talk about Christmas, the holiday, its meaning and origins, and what does a Unitarian Universalist do with this holiday? I know that we sometimes Grinch Christmas, complaining that it is not our holiday, that it's so commercialized, that its true meaning has been lost. Also, many of us have heard the calls to put Christ back into Christmas and that Jesus is the reason for the season. But if we look more closely, Christians have struggled with the true meaning of Christmas for more than they care to admit. The idea that Christmas requires one to be a Christian believer, or that it has always been a holiday of high religiosity, is not historically accurate. In reality, this is a holiday with a very rich history and multiple meanings. And to uncover all of that history, we have to go back, way back. I don't mean 2,000 years. I mean a lot further than that. As David Fitzgerald says in the Complete Heretics Guide to Christmas, since at least the late Stone Age, ancient cultures all around the world were so deeply in tune with the rhythms of the seasons, and their most important time was the winter solstice. Then, in those days, people had to know the seasons, because the seasons controlled when to plant your crops, when to harvest them, the mating and calving seasons for the herds. They were controlling how much food they will need from harvest to harvest. And winter was a particularly harsh time. It was sometimes deadly. People had no guarantee that they would survive until spring. It was all in the hands of gods. So by the coming of the midwinter sun, a turning point was there. That is the time when people knew that the warmth and light would come back after all. That was the time to slaughter most of the calf, because the rest would not be fed. They would not be able to feed the rest of them for the rest of the winter. It also made it one of the few times when people had this surplus of fresh meat that they could use. At that time, most of the wine and beer was ready. And the grueling farm chores were the lightest. So it's an opportunity for people to celebrate. So the winter solstice was celebrated in Babylonia as the festival of Zagmug. In ancient Persia, the Zoroastrians celebrated Koram Ruz. In ancient Greek, midwinter festival of Luna mourned the death and celebrated the rebirth of Dionysus. In the ancient Rome, the festival celebrated the god Bacchus, and later that festival became known as Saturnalia, with gift exchanges and home decorations. Sound familiar? This holiday was celebrated by the ancient Celtic Druids. Ancient Germanic tribes had the winter Yule festival. And this festival became so completely absorbed into Christmas that most folks don't even realize that those are two different things. The list goes on and on. In China, Japan, Inca, Peru, in the Americas, and other parts of the world, virtually every ancient culture had festivals to mark winter solstice. The early Christians did not celebrate Jesus' birth. They did not celebrate Christmas as the birthday, because for Christians, it was not allowed to celebrate birthdays. Heathens did that, not Christians. It was by the middle of the 4th century that Christians began to celebrate Christmas. They started to push to figure out when the birthday of their God was. And they had a serious problem, because nobody knew when Jesus was born. There are two accounts in the New Testament. We have the Matthew story and we have Luke's story. Well, these two stories contradict each other. Neither of them tell us when Jesus was born. And so we have various groups of Christians who celebrate Christmas at different times, different dates. It was in the year of 350, after commissioning an official study to determine the date of Jesus' birth, Pope Julius I announced that, by amazing coincidence, the date was going to be December 25th. Also happens to be the date of the winter solstice. The celebration of many pagan gods and divine sons of gods. So this is when the Christmas celebration began, first as a church holiday, then as an official Roman holiday, then a popular date for the coronation of new kings, and gradually the festivities adopted many of the pagan traditions as part of that celebration and simply renamed them, those celebration traditions, as Christian. From now on, those are Christian traditions. Then in the 17th century, a war on Christmas began. Yes, I was going to say, would you like to guess who did that? Puritans. Not atheists, not Jews, no other group. It was our Christian founding fathers. The opposition of Christmas was so strong, it was one of the factors that led to the English Civil War in the 17th century. The Puritans wanted to purify the church of everything that they saw as popish or pagan, clearing it out. Christmas was one of their targets. And they brought this opposition to Christmas to the United States as well. And for about 100 years, when Puritans dominated the civic and religious life in New England, their power was the strongest in that time, from 1629 through 1728. They outlawed Christmas. So by the 18th century, Christmas was dying here in the United States. But a half a century later, Christmas rose again, as from the grave. And this Christmas miracle happened largely thanks to Unitarians. Our ancestors who rejected the Puritan moralistic superiority stance about Christmas, and they did a lot to make the holiday the way we have it today. In 1835, the Christmas tree with its decorations and gifts hanging from its boughs was introduced by an immigrant, radical Unitarian minister and Harvard professor of German, Charles Follen. After Charles Dickens became interested in Unitarians and got acquainted with Ralph Waldo Emerson, he wrote A Christmas Carol in 1843. And this carol has no mention of Jesus, and it teaches the importance, especially at Christmas, of charity and family. The Reverend Edward Hamilton Sears gave us a hymn, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, in 1849. Then in 1855, a Unitarian minister and music publisher, John Sullivan Dwight, translated the lyrics and theology from French language, because I can't read French, I'm not going to say it out loud, into an American Unitarian carol, O Holy Night. And it is still the Dwight's Unitarian version of this carol that is sung more often than other English translations. James Lord Pierpont, a Unitarian minister, scribbled Jingle Bells. while he was serving as an organist at his brother's, John's, Savannah, Georgia church. And he was very homesick for New England at the time. That was 1857. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, a transcendentalist or a Unitarian poet and educator, wrote the poem Christmas Bells in 1863 after hearing that his son was badly wounded in the Civil War. And we know this poem as a hymn, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. Louisa May Alcott, a Unitarian feminist writer, gave us one of the first detailed descriptions of a family Christmas celebration in New England in the book Little Women. The list is not done. Thank you for your patience. During the Civil War, U.S. Civil War, I think this is what it says, political cartoonist Thomas Nast, a Unitarian, gave the first fully human form representation of the gift-bringing Santa Claus. He started out rather funky, but within 20 years, he had created now the iconic image of this girthy, even a little bit fat Santa dressed in the red robe. In 1950, E. Cummings, also a transcendentalist or Unitarian, wrote of the poem Purer Than Purest. It is in the Christmas section of our hymnals. In 1957, a Unitarian, Theodore Geisel, known as Dr. Seuss, wrote How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which taught the true meaning of Christmas. As Reverend Paul Oakley says, Unitarians were key to shaping the family-friendly holiday in America. No matter our individual theologies or atheologies, Christmas is ours if we want it. If it still serves us and adds value, we made it. Right? So Christmas is as much ours as it is anyone else's. It is a time to lift up our values and remind ourselves to hold on to love and goodwill and wish peace to all. May we open our hearts and allow Christmas to come to us this year in whatever shape and whatever traditions that are meaningful to us. Maybe it will sparkle like the bathroom for Sam. Maybe it will include a delicious dinner with seconds and chocolate. Maybe it will be a quiet hope that will show up and claim us.
As our worship time this morning draws to a close, it is time now to extinguish our chalice. Please join me in reciting these words.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we go around with our preparations and festivities, may we be reminded that every night when hope is born is a holy night. May we be reminded to hold on to love and goodwill and wish peace to all. Blessed be, and amen.